El Calafate is the gateway to the Perito Moreno Glacier and the Glacier National Parks in Argentina. If you're considering going or just have general interest in it, watch this video where we'll walk you through everything you can do in El Calafate. I was lucky enough to go visit El Calafate in Argentina in 2016, and as part of my first visit, I remember looking at the glaciers and saying, oh, I can't wait to come back here with someone and introduce that to him. And I'm very, very excited because I was able to do that January of 2024. With Nate, I brought Nate.
In January, the weather was around 50 to high 60s, depending on really where you were and the time of day. The wind gusts were pretty strong at really all portions of the day, so be prepared for that. One thing we noticed is that it was often maybe a little bit warmer and more sunny in town than at the glaciers. So if you're going to visit the glaciers, make sure you check the weather actually there and not just in town, because we went on like a nice warm sunny day, and when we got there it was cooler and raining, and we didn't expect that. Well, most people are going to arrive in El Calafate by plane, but there are other options. You could drive, but there are also overnight buses.
When you arrive to El Calafate, most of the things are going to be located on sort of one main street, Avenida Liberator. That's where you're going to have most of the chocolate shops, most of the ice cream places, the restaurant, the tour offices. There are some residential areas, but it is a relatively smaller town. We were about 20 minutes outside of the center, a 20-minute walk, and we noticed a lot of new hotels, new construction. There's a fairly new bus station that was built, and there's a lot of construction happening around that area. I don't know if I would recommend doing what we did and staying so outside of the city center. It was nice because we had a really good view because we were higher up along the city, so we could see the Laguna Argentino, but we did have to walk into town and walk back every single time we wanted to go out to a restaurant. There were no bakeries, no supermarkets near us.
The main attraction to Calafate is the Glacier National Park, so most people are taking tours or buses to go outside of town into the glaciers or a boat tour for the day. The Glacier National Park is going to give you a real up-close view of Perito Moreno, but you do have to take a bus to get there. It's about a 30-minute ride.
I think so.
Or maybe a little bit longer. I don't remember exactly. But it cost close to $26 to take that bus ride. So I was surprised that it was that expensive. There are many buses that go there. It's hard to find what those options are online. We found it easiest to just go to the bus station early in the morning, or if you wanted to plan in advance, go to get the information days before. You also have to pay it was about $12. It was 12,000 pesos to get into the National Glacier Park. That does give you the option to return on a second day for a 50% discount.
Yeah, we didn't do that. We were able to see everything within that period that we were there. Once you arrive to the park, there is an option to take a shuttle that will take you to sort of the start of the trails. That is optional. You could also take a trail to the top. And once you arrive, there are a couple of different trails that you can take. And I forget which one we did first, but we just started going through the trails, and I thought they were all pretty simple. I will say that the signage for the tours make it seem like they're very difficult.
Yeah.
They weren't for us.
And long. The signs made it look like they were long walks. They could be long because you're going to want to stop and take a lot of pictures and just watch the glaciers, but the actual walking time is pretty small.
You can see the glaciers from a top view, and another one you're a little bit lower or sort of next to the glacier, and honestly they're all cool. It's great because you get to hear when they calve. You get to hear when they make this loud sound. So for me, that sound was cool, but I just love seeing everyone else get excited about, oh, where is it? Where did it fall?
Everybody wants to identify it as soon as they can so they can take a picture if they have the time, but usually by that time it's too late. So it's very hard to get good picture, good footage of the actual calving. We did make use of the 50% discount for a re-entry to the park because we went on a boat tour as well. And you had to pay the national park entry as part of taking the boat tour to see the glaciers. The boat tour was something that we wanted to go on because we're able to see not just the Perito Moreno Glacier, but other glaciers in the bay. So we took an all-day tour and we saw 4 or 5 glaciers, all from different viewpoints, all different sizes. We saw many icebergs along the way. It was absolutely gorgeous.
It's just, you have to do it. If you have the option, do the boat tour. You can do a boat tour through the national park and just see Perito Moreno, which is gorgeous, it's nice, but you just see one. You're just seeing Perito Moreno, but the other glaciers are equally beautiful. The boat ride to start seeing the first one is like an hour or so. Very, very remote, and you just don't get that unless you do these boat tours.
The cruise that we took was about $150 per person, which was the most expensive activity we did throughout our whole 3-month stay in Argentina, but so worth it. There's no other experience that you could compare it to, so well worth doing. We did this trip through the Cruceros MarPatag tour office. It's on the Maria Turquesa ship. The cost of the tour includes a full day on the boat, which also includes a lunch aboard and transportation to and from the cruise port. So it is fairly all-inclusive, although it doesn't include the entry to the park itself. So as we mentioned, that's a $12 additional charge. So you spend the morning going through some of the more distant glaciers, and then you turn around and head towards Perito Moreno, which you'll see in the afternoon. But after lunch, you do stop for a hike. It's not really a hike, like it's not going up a mountain or anything, but it is kind of a walking tour around this abandoned cattle farm. And there's one small house that was there remaining. And they'll tell you a little bit about the history of the area, and then you'll go back on board.
I love that part. That little hike, I would do that. They should do more little hikes because you're in this place that there's no one else around.
Yeah, it was a nice break from being on the boat as well. I mean, the boat ride is gorgeous, but it's also somewhat crowded when you're going by some of the bigger glaciers. Everybody wants to be in the same place to take a picture. So that can get a little tiring.
When I originally went to Calafate in 2016, it's this cool walk of the Laguna Nimez, which is a natural reserve, and it's right outside of the city center in Calafate, maybe like a 5-minute walk or so from the town center. And I was so excited to bring Nate. He likes bird watching, but it wasn't that exciting this time. We didn't see any birds, I don't think. Did we see birds?
I don't know, you said you saw flamingos off in the distance, but I'm not sure that I even saw that they were flamingos. So yeah, we didn't really see much there. It was a nice walk, but it was a bust as far as wildlife. But we did see the Calafate berry. So some of the bushes there have the Calafate berries, which is what El Calafate is named after, and they make a very nice jam out of those berries that you can get in some of the gift shops. I don't remember what it cost to get into, but there was a charge, and to just do the walk that we did and not really see anything all that unique, it wasn't worth it to me.
You could go onto the beach or the Laguna Lake beach, and that was cool.
Yeah, that's true. That was the closest that we got to Lago Argentino. So that was nice to be able to get up close and see it, even though the view is really spectacular from a distance. I mean, that's what's most impressive, but just to be able to check it out up close was cool. What was the food like in El Calafate? Well, there were breweries, as always. In southern Argentina, we found a lot of good breweries, and they always have a good sort of mix of bar food. Also, a specialty of the area is lamb. So we had a lamb dinner at El Viejo. Is that right?
El Viejo.
Yeah. That was a highly recommended restaurant, and they had a delicious lamb dinner that we had.
But the vegetables, the lamb was good, but I was really excited about the vegetables. The vegetables were really good.
There's also plenty of bakeries and little sandwich shops in Calafate.
I loved our time in Calafate, even though it wasn't, it felt definitely much more developed than when I visited before, which makes sense. Time has passed. I get it. It just felt less remote this time around, but it's still beautiful. The glaciers, I mean, they're just so big and beautiful and vast, and it just makes you realize how small you are in this world. We're a little speck, and there's so much beautiful nature around us. So I don't know. I would go back in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I loved our trip to El Calafate. I thought, the glaciers and just glaciers in general are such an amazing natural wonder. I loved seeing those. We had a great time there. I had a bit of a different take than you, I think, on the town or the city. Because it was my first time, I was actually surprised at how small it was and how undeveloped it was. I mean, there were a lot of people there, so it attracted a number of tourists. But there really wasn't much else to do other than go to the glacier park and go on the boat tours of the glacier. So I wouldn't plan for more than a week stay personally. You're going to go and you're going to see that major highlight. But as far as the downtown, there's not that much to keep you busy. There's a few restaurants, sure, but you're not going to need to stay more than a few days even if you wanted to do like all of the major things in El Calafate. I wouldn't pick El Calafate as one of our slow travel destinations where we would get like a month-long stay.
Yeah, that's a good point. We did spend more time in Ushuaia, and I'm glad that we did it that way. I found my time in Ushuaia more enjoyable.
Yeah, there's more of a balance, I think, of things to do there. But El Calafate is a can't-miss destination in Argentina. So if it's on your list of places to go, make sure it stays there and recommend doing it for sure.
Thank you so much for watching our video. Please let us know in the comments what you thought and like the video to help support our channel. And we will have other scenic videos for Calafate and other areas in Patagonia that we've explored during our 3 months in Argentina. So please check those out.
Check it out. Oh, Caramello. Nope.
Check it out, Caramelo.
Isn't that the candy bar?
Yeah. Yeah.